Hello, everybody. My name is Yvette Myers, and today we're talking about compromising versus giving up. Okay, first let's start with our definitions. The first definition is compromise. Compromise is an agreement or a settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. Giving up is to yield control or possession of surrender. Because of this workshop, we're going to use these definitions as the working definitions for compromise and giving up. These two definitions can be so simple, and the problem usually comes with the very simple definitions that we have the most complex or the most issues with. Compromising is adjusting. Both parties are bending to find a common ground. I'm going to use compromise and giving up in the realm of relationships for this workshop only. Again, I'm using compromising and giving up for the realm of this relationships for this workshop only. Giving up is verbally or physically committing to the statement that I will not move forward. I will not go in that direction regarding this relationship. So let me tell you about the time that I joined the running club. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. I've always wanted to run as a long distance. Oh, let me say something before I continue. That voice that you hear in the background, that's my granddaughter. So hopefully she's going to let me continue this, but let's get started. Let's continue. So I joined this running club. And as I'm joining this running club, I decide that I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner, long distance runner, but that's something that I've always wanted to do. Join this running club, and when I tell you guys that these people ran, they ran. So this is the first time I was introduced to the riverbank down here in Columbia, South Carolina. Where along this river, there is a sidewalk, and you can run down and backwards, down and back. One way is 3.5 miles, I believe. So we're running down this riverbank, and everything in me said to stop. I was hurting. It was hurting to breathe. It was hurting to inhale. It was hurting to exhale. I was hurting. And as I'm running, my shins was hurting, my back was hurting, everything was hurting, my chest was hurting. I was thinking to myself, keep pushing, push through it, push through it. And as I continued to go, I realized that my as I was running, I realized that my heart rate was increasing too much. So as I'm running, I decided, I said, you know what, I need to stop. So I did not stop. I just started walking. As I began walking, I regained control of my heart rate, slowed down, kept going, kept going. There were a few other times that as people were passing me, they were telling me, come on, get back in it, don't give up. And I would take a couple of steps and then something would tell me to stop. Well, fast forward, I did end up walking back to the car. It took me a while. I sat in the car for a while. And then I finally got home. Well, fast forward, later on, I found out that I had medical issues. That had I continued, it could have been detrimental. So for me at that moment, my compromise was not to stop because I was determined to finish. I did finish, but I did not give up. When is it right to compromise? I use compromise as a good method at that moment. Maybe I should have given up because of what I later found out, but I'm still here, so I believe I made the right decision. Giving up within a relationship is when one person, togetherness is when each person independently work on themselves, but for a greater cause. Each person works independently for them on themselves for the greater cause. The greater cause is the relationship. When they stop working on themselves, that prevents them from working together on the relationship. When you give up on yourself, giving up on yourself has more to do with giving up. Giving up on a relationship has more to do with giving up on yourself before you get to the point where you give up on a relationship. There's something that you in yourself that you refuse to work on, that you continue at this point. I'm not going to compromise anymore, even if it's compromising to the point where there's infidelity on your partner's part, and compromising to the point where you've decided to work on, you know, acceptance or getting the relationship back, or if you decide to stay in a relationship. Now, when you stop working on yourself and say that I'm not doing this anymore, that's not to say that's good or bad. When you stop working on yourself, that's when you stop working on the relationship. So when you give up in a relationship, it's because you have stopped working on yourself. To end the relationship is saying that one person is no longer has faith that their partner will work independently for the same goal. So if we playing kickball, both of us have a ball, both of us don't stand in parallel to each other, and we're running down the goal, let's use soccer. Both of us have a soccer ball, and we're dribbling the same ball. Well, I'm sorry, the separate balls to the same goal. That's unity. That's working on a relationship. Now, in the realm of soccer, that makes no sense. But for the sake of sake of this analogy, it's two people running down a field. Each of them have a ball, and they're going towards the same goal. When one person stops dribbling or stops kicking that ball forward towards that goal, that's when that person has given up on the relationship. Now, the one that's continuously going, they can look to their left or their right and see that their partner is no longer there. Once they realize their partner is no longer there, many people slow down. They'll slow down and they'll ask, what's going on? Are you coming? How long is this going to be? What's going on? If they believe that their partner is not going to work independently on themselves to get to that goal, then that second person stops. So each of them stop working on themselves. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, comment and we'll talk about it some more. Now let's talk about the backdraft of this decision. When a person stops working on themselves and the relationship stops, how does this affect the immediate family? It's going to affect immediate family by, let's say, children, significant others, aunts. Then it's going to affect the extended family, moms, dads, sisters, brothers. And then there is the ultimate backdraft of what will others think of me? That has more effect on our decision making than we like to care to admit. What does others think of me? How do I get past this? What do I need to tell people so that they can see things from the way that I see it? Sometimes we embellish at that point, and many times, many people are very upfront and honest, but many people embellish. Now, we're still talking about compromising and giving up. Now, let's go off into a little side street about compromising and giving up. A lot of times, the deciding factor on if we compromise, we give up, if we continue, is control. Now, complete control is that thing that people have over our lives. That all of us like to say that no one has control over their lives. But listen to this what I'm about to say. Complete control, and all of these are questionable. There's no definite answer for every single person, but for many, it falls into these categories. Complete control happens from about birth to 14 years, influence from about 15 to mid-30s, mild influence from about mid-30s to 40s, and no control from mid-40s until later. Again, this may be a little distorted for everybody. However, this is not absolute but a prediction. Now, How control factors in is we will make decisions based on what we think others, those closest to us, what they expect from us. If our decision, we have a tight knit family, and my decision is gonna affect my family, then it's likely I can make a decision that I completely disagree with, that I do not want to do. I don't want to have anything to do with, but because of those closest to me, it benefits them, or I'm not prepared to make a decision that's going to disappoint them. That's how control works. Now, there's something about that no control, mid 40s and later. I always wonder how the older people got, the less girdled their tongue became. And as I age, I understand that now. Now let's talk about when we make better decisions. When do we make better decisions? To get to a point where we're not compromising, or we're not giving up or having to compromise, we make decisions based on a state of mind, a solid state of mind. And these are just some principles that I've come up with to help us make our best decisions. We make our best decisions when we are aware of our beings and who we are. When we know where we are, what our goals are, it is easy to make a decision when someone is entering your life and you see or you ask questions and they don't end up, and you can't see them at your end goal. If they can't fit into your plan, then that might not be somebody for you. When our goals are not clear to us, when our goals aren't clear, then we make decisions based on right now. And when we make decisions based on right now, we're giving up on our future and compromising on our our current state. When we have no clarity, when there is no focus, when there is no, I know exactly what I need to be doing right now. When there's no clarity, we make decisions, and our decisions aren't for our best interest. When we trust those in our immediate circles, there's nothing more disheartening than to trust someone and then they betray you. But we do make better decisions when those around us have our back, when we know that those around us have our back. When outside influences is considered but not weighted. When outside influences is considered but not weighted. We consider everything. We don't want to make a decision inside a vacuum. But when we consider those things, and then we make our decision based on what's best for us and our families. That's how we make better decisions. Compromising and giving up is also contingent on how well we can articulate our position to those that have the greatest influence on our lives. How well we can stand up to our parents, siblings, significant others on a decision that we made. The less influence others have on our lives, the more likely it is for us to make a decision that benefits only us. Now, that's neither good or bad. There are going to be times when you're going to have to make a decision that only benefits you. Then there are going to be times when it doesn't benefit the entire family if a decision only benefits you. So, compromising and giving up is also contingent on how well we can argue our point. There are going to be times when a compromise will do. There are going to be times when a giving up is going to be the best thing to do. Being in a place where you know what's best for you and what's best for your family is getting in touch and setting those goals, setting those priorities, and walking your daily life into a direction that helps you to achieve your goals. When you walk haphazardly, you make decisions based on right now. You begin to compromise. You compromise so long until you're so far from your goals that you give up. Let's get back to who we are, setting our goals, setting our dreams, and making our daily decisions align with our goals.